We live. We live. We live right now. Today is August 4th, 2025. I'm doing pretty good today. I hope you're doing pretty good today. I actually just released my whole light roast series right now, and it's going fine. But the biggest thing that I am learning and understanding is that everybody has their preferences, their own preferences in coffee, which we all know. You do, I do, everybody does. And preferences can mean can mean different things to people. And we just like what we like and the reasons why we like it. So one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people like the high acidity in the light roast coffee, how it's complex, how it changes, and how it's tea-like. That's great for them. That's absolutely amazing. For me, no. I want more balance. I like acidity a little bit more than sweetness, but I need sweetness in my cup of coffee. I'm more of a 60-40 kind of split person. Sometimes too much sweetness can be too overwhelming, boring. Too much acidity for me can be too violent. It's too much in my mouth. It coats it in a way to where it's very unpleasant. It's something that I cannot have every single day. Right? But that's what we're really talking about today. We're talking about the thing called preferences. And in this case, what do you care about most? Do you care about acidity or do you care about sweetness? That's pretty much it. Which one do you care about? Because if you determine what you care about in that aspect, then it'll be a lot easier for me or for anybody or for more importantly you to determine which coffees that you'll gravitate to majority of the time. This is not so much about changing your perspective. Yes, I believe everybody should at times try different things, right? See what's out there. Go beyond your comfort zone when it comes to drinking coffee, right? But if you know exactly what you like and the reasons why, then when you go and pick up a bag of coffee, you can quickly decipher what you want in that coffee or what you're going to be experiencing in that cup of coffee. And when you do that, that's where you're going to be. But yeah, that's what we're really talking about here. Why do you like what you like? Or why do you gravitate to what you like? And you're the only one who can answer that question. Truly, you're the only one who can really answer that question, which is perfectly fine. Like I said, it's been interesting. I wouldn't say so much alarming. And a lot of things that people have come to me or have already expressed to me of why they like a certain coffee over another is because of how that coffee presents itself to that person, how it excites them, how it gets them going, how it gets them in a place to where they're saying that this is their coffee. And the thing about it too, as we all know and realize, is that if we like what we like, then a lot of times we will not venture out to other things. We will stay in our lane. We will stay in our lane. We will get to the place to where we're just comfortable. And I think sometimes, as much as I like to change things up, to try different coffees, to try different brewing methods, to try different temperatures, to bring different things out of coffee, at the end of the day, we want that comfort. We want that satisfaction. Because if we have that comfort and satisfaction, then no matter which coffee that we're presented with, for the most part, especially if it's something that we like, then we know that for the most part, we'll be able to enjoy that coffee. And I think that's really where it comes down to, is that we're going to be able to enjoy the coffee, express ourselves, and move on with our merry-go way, right? Like for me, I want to say I'm a little bit more complicated, but I do have a decent amount of spectrum for me and the reasons why I like what I like. Again, I'll use myself as an example to better help you to kind of determine who you are. Because no matter what, our preferences kind of shape who we are, but also gives other people the reasons why they like what they like. When I started my journey in coffee, it was all about just getting that caffeine hit. A lot of times I would mix it with creamer and milk or whatnot. And then eventually I started to drink it black. We go through this progression of kind of like enjoying coffee the way that we want to. And then it got to the point to where I started going to cafes. And when I did that, I was shocked how light and not strong the coffees were. So I went down that avenue of going medium, then darker. And then eventually, once I got to the Italian roast, I stopped from there. I kind of auto-corrected when it went back, all the way back to where I was drinking a lot of light roast. And light roast was my jam and was the thing. And then after a while, I noticed that certain coffees were too underdeveloped. Tasted like tomatoes and grass and all that shit, And to an extent, they still do. But that's what I was enjoying at the time. It could have been the reason why I was enjoying it was because I was an avid tea drinker before I really started to go into this coffee thing. I didn't only drink tea when I was sick, as I do now. But I realized that for me, I truly really gravitated to those acidic type of bombs. And I didn't really know or care for sweetness or what that really was. I think that's why now that I taste sweetness, I'm really shocked that coffee can be truly sweet, right? And as I've gone through this whole rabbit hole of kind of figuring out my own palate, I come to realize that I like that balance. And I know a lot of times when people say balance, that can be just like, what are you really talking about? But in my case, I like balance. I like a coffee that's acidic, a coffee that's sweet. It can swing a little bit one way or the other. But whenever I brew it and taste it, to me, it's very magical because it's like I'm tasting everything together. I'm tasting what a true, real ripeness of a fruit really is. And a lot of times when I drink coffee, for me, I think of fruit. I think about the things that I'm doing to see if I can mimic as much as I can, and also fruit that I'm eating. For instance, it could be oranges, it can be apples. And a lot of times whenever I'm eating those type of things, I tend to gravitate and to fuck up fruit if it's extremely balanced. I can taste the different elements. I can taste the complexity. And as it cools, it gets even more intense and everything. And I can still get that to an extent with a darker roast, especially if the dark roast has some type of fruitiness and acidity on it. A lot of times whenever I have a lot of dark roast, it could tend to be more chocolatey, more sweet. And again, after time, that gets boring. You'll get that from a lot of Central South American coffees, especially like Brazilian coffees. So I think that's why some people don't gravitate to those particular coffees, because even in a lighter roast, they tend to be a softer acidity. A little bit boring, I would have to admit, as I've done my experiments and kind of tested the coffees the way they are. But then this comes back to the other spectrum to where I've gone back and to just see what I hate about or dislike about light roast and the reasons why. And I come to realize is that it's too acidic. There's no sweetness. There's no balance for me. If you roast it or you get a coffee that's slightly a little bit more developed compared to a traditional light roast, you may be able to coax a little bit of the sweetness out of it. But that's not really what you're going to get presented with. You get this other extreme to where you'll get acidity. You'll get different layers of acidity. As it cools, it may get something different, depending on the coffee, depending on the brew method, and all that good stuff. So I know what I like in coffee. And I think when I went to the SCA, it was a lot of lightly roasted coffees. Some coffees, most of them tasted like acidic bombs. Some of them a little bit more interesting than others. And ironically speaking, the cup of excellence rejects that I did taste was a little bit more developed, more balanced. I can drink those forever. That experience that I had with those coffees were truly, really magical. And again, these are the rejects. And I don't know if it's just their philosophy when the cup of excellence people kind of like look at coffees and the way they analyze them, and they'll actually roast them a little bit more developed, more medium than a lightly roasted specialty coffee spectrum. That could be a story for another day. But it's kind of interesting where you can get that balance and get that sweetness and get that acidity too. But I guess the biggest thing that I'm coming away with this, and also hopefully that you're getting this too, is that you got to know what you like. You got to know why you like it. And you have to also know why you don't like, dislike, have a hatred, so to speak, if that is the case, of the other side of the whole spectrum. Because again, that is what helps you along your journey. That is what helps you figure out the things that you like to do within coffee. And then also what that does too is that it allows you to, if you have a friend, you can talk them through what they like. You can talk to them through what you like. And then you can kind of figure out a little bit more of what you all can enjoy together or even separately. Because as much as we think that we're like the same, even me being a medium and dark roast person, even as somebody who's a lightly roasted type of person, they may like it for different reasons. And that's perfectly fine. But as we talk about it more, and I think as long as we keep talking about it more, I think we'll be able to appreciate each other's take, each other's palate, each other's fascination with coffee. And then it is what it is, right? So that's what I got for you. Those are some of the things I'm thinking about right now. And I do hope that this helps you out a little bit more as you think about one of many preferences that you do have within your coffee journey and the reasons why you like what you like. So this is Oki at Everyday Beans signing out. I'll talk to you later. Bye.